Hey everybody, so for those who are unfamiliar, my name is Jacob. I make videos on this channel every so often, tackling a wide variety of subjects, and the vast majority of the time it's just basic bullshit. It's things that have been on my mind and things that I've been thinking about. And recently, I was trying to think of something that I could quite possibly make a video on, given that I haven't uploaded in quite a while. And the number one thing that came to mind is the education system. And speaking as someone that went to school, particularly in the United States, for a long while, I think I'm a little bit qualified to think and speak about the education system and what it has done for us. And that being very little. I don't think that the education system in the US, and when I say education system, I'm not using like some broad general term that is vain and doesn't really convey any meaning. I generally mean the K through 12 public school system. I'm not accounting for private schools. I'm not accounting for prep schools. I'm not accounting for, religious schools. I'm accounting for the K through 12 public school system, which is the school system that I went to, the state funded system in a lot of communities. And not only is it worthwhile saying that the vast majority of people who cannot do teach, and you see this example everywhere, the people who are supposed to be teaching us about business are mostly failed businessmen. The people who are supposed to be teaching us about anthropology and philosophy are people who got those degrees and couldn't get any jobs in them. So, in many situations, even at higher levels of learning, especially in places such as universities and community colleges, we see an overwhelming trend where a lot of people who simply cannot get careers in a chosen field then instruct a new generation of people, thereby making them unable to get careers in this chosen field, thereby tanking the economy. And we see this happening all of the time, but it also happens at earlier levels because when you consider the fact that the average teacher makes only a few dollars more in a lot of places in the United States, in a lot of states and in a lot of cities, than the average fast food worker, then we find ourselves with this weird situation where someone who is largely only responsible for themselves as well as the company that they are supposed to keep in good order, such as a fast food worker or a crew member, earns just a few dollars less than a person who is responsible for managing a group of around 20 to 30 people, which means that the person responsible for managing that group of people, the teacher, thereby must have like a huge passion for teaching. That is the only way that that person would actually be recompensated for what they do. But the thing is that passion alone doesn't actually carry forward, someone into a good profession. Passion alone doesn't teach them the skills required in order to make a positive impressions on their students, in order to not shout at their students, in order to not dispel their political views onto their students. And this has unfortunately been my experience just getting out of the school system a few years ago and going to university and getting a job and doing all of that. That in the vast majority of cases, I don't think that teachers have been properly equipped to teach a good amount of students. They've been properly equipped to pretty much just only take care of themselves, not think about anyone else. To do the tasks for that given day. They don't really care about that group of students. They're just going to eat their salad and they're going to give out an exam or something weighted with ChatGPT. And you can't really fault them for it because it's their job and it's how they make money. And even that money is not enough to sustain themselves or have good savings, especially if they have rent to pay or if they have other expenses such as taking care of older family members, healthcare, and all of that. And I don't want British people in my comment section coming like, oh, well, the healthcare in our country is free. I've lived in your country. I know. I've lived all over Europe. I know. Except, the United States has the privilege of having private healthcare that doesn't require you to, constantly make trips, constantly look for appointments, constantly wait and be put on a waiting list like the NHS does, even when you end up paying them. But that's a topic for a whole nother video. It generally is disappointing how a lot of teachers don't seem to take their job seriously, in spite of the fact that they have a lot of expenses and that it's somewhat understandable. Because when you think about it, there are so many people that could possibly leave an impression on if a teacher is a good one. And I'm not talking like some Dead Poet Society nonsense, some fictitious stuff. But teachers could really make the effort of being a bit more understanding of their students. Um, In some situations, I've found teachers that were straight up, disrespectful to students who seem to be lagging behind in the class and seem to bump up students who were really only good at school and nothing else, and seem to favor them. There was very clear favoritism on the part of all of the teachers that I've had, particularly throughout high school and middle school. And the thing that I found most disgraceful, actually, was teachers sharing their political views in the class. And I had both left-leaning and right-leaning teachers play videos in class to sort of educate but really propagandize the masses and tell their students what to think. And this was most preposterous in my seventh grade or eighth grade, I believe, uh, civics slash U.S. history teacher playing PragerU videos in class and showing clear favoritism for the Republican Party around the time of Trump's election, or the first Trump's the election that Trump had, which was, you know, concerning to say the least. I'm not to take a partisan issue, but I don't think the same, I don't think that it would have been appropriate for teachers to play, I don't know who's Hassan Piker's videos in class. Like, come on. Like we have to have a sort of standard where we're being nonpartisan and non-biased, and that seems like it's a difficult thing to do, but it actually isn't. Just a lot of people do find it difficult. So that's been my extended rant. I hope some of you agree. I hope some of you disagree, and yeah, I'll try uploading more. I can't promise anything. See you in 2 minutes or 2 years. I have no clue. All right, bye. And I always try to leave a moral at the end of these videos. This video has no moral. Just teachers suck, and they should be paid less.